A very good morning, children. In the last session, or the session, we have learnt about water resources and we have completed that chapter. In today's session, we are going to see something new concept. Okay, let me ask you one question. What are the necessary factors of our life, children? To lead a happy life or to lead the life, what are the necessary factors? Yes, it's water, shelter and food also. Okay, so today we are going to see about the major production activity, that is primary sector, the agriculture. Okay, so how agriculture is important in our life, how it's helping for a development of a country, all those things. Yes, today we are going to learn about the chapter agriculture from your geography. Okay. Yes, children. So here we'll start with the one quotation, that is, agriculture is the most healthful, most useful and most noble employment of man. So now we can see that, this pandemic situation, the corona is, the leading the entire country. And what happens, children? Many, the business and the many, the professions has been shut down because of this pandemic situation. But the only two jobs the people are surviving is, one, it is agriculture, because any situation may come, but people will not stop to eat. So that is one necessary factor for our life. And like the health department, that is the doctors and all, those people are surviving. So here we understood it is one of the noble employment, agriculturing, or the farming. Okay. So we'll see some facts about the agriculture in our country. So today we are going to see about the concept, that is agriculture in India and then types of farming. Okay, children, this is very much important for your assessment. See, types of farming, in that we'll be seeing about primitive subsistence farming, intensive subsistence farming and commercial farming. Within the commercial farming only we'll be seeing about plantations, and we'll go for recapitulation. Guys, see, these are all the important concept. Okay, in this chapter minimum at least 8 marks will be there in your exams. 5 mark compulsory question and 3 mark compulsory question, and there will be even map work also. So guys, be careful and understand the concepts. Okay, agriculture in India. So we all know that India is basically an agricultural country. So that's what here they are telling. See here, India is an agriculturally important country, that we all know that. Agricultural produces most of the food that we consume. So every day whatever we are consuming, the agriculture is only producing the maximum food products. Along with that, even it will produce some, the food, fat, fibers, all those things. See, agriculture also produces raw materials for various industries. For various industries, as we know, we have divided the sectors, the activities into 3 sectors, that is primary sector, secondary sector and the tertiary sector. So as we know that the primary sector produces or gives the maximum raw materials to the secondary sector for the industries. Okay, that is what here they are telling. And then India is second in the crop output next to China. So here we can see the China is in the first place in the production of the products at the agricultural crops. Next, second one it is India, and the third one it is United States, and the fourth one it is Indonesia. Guys, remember, first China, second one it is India, third one is, yes, United States, and the fourth one it is Indonesia. Okay. Indian agriculture is, the multifaceted, with horticulture and animal husbandry contributing to over 60% of India's agricultural GDP. So it's providing almost 60% of India's agricultural GDP. And 1.4 million square kilometers of land in India is under cultivation. So we are using almost 1.4 million square kilometer of land we are using in India for agriculture or cultivation. Okay. See, agriculture is India's biggest economic sector and employs 52.1% of a total workforce. So here it is giving almost 52.1% of the workforce. The people are employed under agriculture. As we know what happened, 3/4 of our country, the people are engaged in agriculture for their livelihood. Okay, children. So these are all some facts we have to know about agriculture in India. And as we know, India is, the second largest production of a wheat and rice. We know that wheat and rice are the staple food which we are using. Okay. It is producing, India is the second largest country which is producing the rice and even the wheat. And as we know, even it is the second largest producer of some dry fruits also. Okay guys, you people understood about some facts of the agriculture in India. Okay, let's move on to the next, that is the types of farming. Guys, this is very much important. You people should remember these things. Okay, yes children. Over years, cultivation methods in India have changed significantly depending upon the characteristics of physical environment, technical know-how and socio-cultural practices. So as we know what happened, the cultivation, the pattern or the methods of the cultivation changes in India from, depending upon the characteristics or the physical environment which we are using, or it may be the technological changes, or it may be the socio-cultural practices. So guys, these are all the things which we have studied in our, the previous classes also. Yes or no? So what happens? Agriculture, was a main occupation of the people. Yes or no, children? And then how they started to expand this agriculture, children? By destroying the, by destroying the forest. They started to, clear the forest and they started to expand agriculture or cultivation in that particular area. And once this the colonial period started, agriculture started to get more importance, because those people, the British people thought that, the empty land or the forest area, they started to think that it is an wasteland. So that's the reason they started to clear the forest or the wastelands and they started to use that land for cultivation. Understand? And they started to give much and more importance for commercial products. Guys, what are the commercial products we can see, children? Yes, exactly. That is the commercial crops, jute, coffee, tobacco, these things and all, they started to grow more and more. Cotton. Okay, see here. Farming varies from subsistence to commercial farming. Okay, the agriculture, the farming varies from subsistence to commercial farming. So from the subsistence to commercial farming. See, at present, in different parts of India, the following, the farming system are practiced. See, sorry, here this farming system are practiced. See here, children, this is one of the fact you people should know. Agriculture is the largest livelihood provider in rural India. So the maximum people in our, we know that India is basically, it contains the maximum rural areas only. So agriculture is providing the maximum or the largest livelihood provider to the, in rural India, rural Indians. Okay. See here, the types of farming. One, it is primitive subsistence farming, intensive subsistence farming and commercial farming. Guys, remember there are three types in, the farming. Types of farming in India, we can see three types. One, it is primitive subsistence farming, intensive subsistence farming and commercial commercial farming, not subsistence. Okay. So that's what here they are telling. Farming varies from subsistence to commercial farming. Okay. Yes, children. Next, we'll move on to the first type, that is primitive subsistence farming. So what does it mean by the primitive subsistence farming? What kind of agriculture or what kind of farming we are using in this, or what method we are following? Let us see, children. This farming is still practiced in few places in India because this is one of the ancient kind of agriculture or the farming. Okay, see. It's practiced on small patches with the help of primitive tools like hoe, draw and digging sticks and family or community labor. So here what happens, in some the small patches of land they'll be using with the help of some primitive tools like hoe, draw and some digging sticks. With the help of the family members, or it may be the community labor, that particular community people, they'll be joining together as a laborers. See, this type of farming depends upon monsoon, natural fertility of the soil and the suitability of other environmental conditions. So here they'll not be using any of the artificial things or any technology they are not using here, okay. They are not using any of the bore wells, tube wells for the water resources. Here they depends, majority, their farming is depends upon the natural monsoon, that is the rains, and the natural fertility of the soil. They are not using any alternate like a fertilizer, the pesticides, they are not using anything for the soil fertility. Okay, the natural fertility of the soil and suitability of other environmental conditions. So for that particular environment, which crop will be suitable, they'll be growing that one. Okay, so this primitive subsistence farming is also known as slash and burn cultivation. Guys, now you remember? Yes, this we have learnt in your 9th standard. Okay, so this is also known as slash and burn cultivation. Okay, children, see here. Farmers clear a patch of land and produce crops to sustain their family. When soil fertility decreases, the farmers shift and start cultivating in the same way on a fresh patch of land. So here what happens, children, there will be one small, the plot or the land, and they will be clearing whatever the, the forest, if it is there, all those things, the trees, everything, they'll clear it and they'll burn that, okay, that particular piece of land. And they'll start using that land for agriculture till the soil fertility will be there. So once the soil lost its fertility, then again what they'll be doing? They'll be moving to the next, the one more land, the patch of land. They'll be continuing the same way. They'll clear all the trees and again they'll be cultivating, okay, till the soil fertility. They'll be shifting from one place to another place. So here what happens, once the soil loses its fertility, see, this allows nature to replenish the fertility of the soil. Again they'll not be doing anything, they'll just leave that land. So again this allows the nature to replenish or regain, to restore the fertility of the soil. Okay, the productivity in this type of farming is low as fertilizers or modern inputs are not used. So as I told you people, what happens here, we are not using any technological changes or the fertilizers or the pesticides and the modern farming, the modern methods of farming. Okay, so that's the reason, of course, the yield will be low. See, the productivity or the yield will be low in this kind of farming. Okay, children. Guys, you people understood, right? Primitive subsistence farming is also known as slash and burn cultivation. Okay. So here what the people will be doing? They'll be taking a patch of land and they'll be clearing that land with the help of some primitive tools. And then they'll burn that particular land and they'll start doing the agriculture or the cultivation. So once that particular land loses its fertility, they'll be shifting to the one more piece of land or the new land, and again they'll be doing the same pattern. They'll be cutting the trees, they'll burn it and they'll be using it for agriculture till that land loses its fertility. Here they allow nature to replenish the fertility of the soil. Okay.